Afternoon, a very good afternoon, everyone. We're so sorry that we started off slightly late, but we can't seem to get away from starting from Indian time. We will one day do it, I promise you. My name is Anjumanvar. I know some of you. And we always start off with a prayer, a Christian prayer and of course a Muslim prayer. Welcome to bringing people together, near neighbours. 2 days that we're going to spend together, and I know that some of us are known to us, and I hope that we'll make some new friends. We'd like to thank Near Neighbours for the funding, because unfortunately or fortunately without it we cannot do this work. It requires money. We will be staying overnight, and I think it's quite reasonable, but it's wonderful to see so many of us come together. We're going to start off with a short icebreaker which Julian is going to deal with, and we're going to hopefully, through that, we might get to know our neighbour. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you. Okay, well, we'll start off by mixing you up. So if you can pair up with someone you don't know, if possible, of a different faith. So either Christians or Muslims. I'm not aware of any other faiths here. So someone you don't know, some
different faith.
Different faith?
I'm a pagan.
Okay, good, thank you. Right, great, thank you very much. So in your pair, I want you to do two things. One is to find out something unusual about your partner, and the other is to find out why they're here. Hopefully those aren't the same. So, two things. Something unusual and why people are here. So if you mix up, find a partner.
Liz lived in India for 6 months, and it was the first time she lived somewhere where she wasn't surrounded by Christians. So that's something unusual.
And the unusual thing here is that she studied theology, Christian theology, here in Leeds at Trinity North Saints, which is a Catholic college, and she got funny reactions from people when she told them. She wanted to find out about Christian theology, and she found it very interesting. Like I said, and I found it very interesting to live in India and find out about other people of faith.
I stunned. Smuggled Bibles over the Berlin Wall.
Do check late, Charlie.
Good.
Can you imagine that, me, guys? Yes, yeah. And Anne smuggled razor blades and got into Spain. Don't ask me.
So that my partner's unusual thing was that he likes Methodist services more than Anglican.
Really? That's great. I'm a Methodist. Thank you very much.
The project for me involved British Waterways, and it was doing a local project in Bradford using the waterways, bringing children from the Christian school and the Muslim school together.
So I want us all to reflect on what it means to be a leader. Who here thinks they're a leader? It's very interesting. This is one of our leadership events. We're focusing on leadership. I've done this at the last 3 or 4 events that we've had. Ask people if they're leaders, and not many hands go up, and I think that's a British thing. I think we're a bit modest. Who do we want our leaders to talk to? So, say you're in a church and there's a mosque next door, and there is no contact between the two. Now, anyone could fill that gap. Anyone could bridge the gap between the church and the mosque, but who's going to do it? It could be anyone. And it happens at different levels. It might be people in the congregation who begin to make the link. It might be the leader.
There are 5 mosques in my parish. I've only got on with one of them. I've got anywhere in the relationship. Now, I really could have persevered a bit more, but I have tried with some of the others and had no response.
The face-to-face meeting is crucial. So we find that we don't get a lot of success with letters and emails and phone calls. But going there, if you go along when the prayers are happening and sit at the back while people are praying, if you engage with them during Ramadan and the 2 Eids, see if there's any of your neighbours attend that mosque and you know them and they might introduce you. So make personal contact and go for it.
I saw some YouTube clips that all had Muslim rage on the top of them, but they were actually showing a Muslim man playing with his child, they were showing people in the market, they were showing ordinary, everyday Muslim life, and it really put that into context.
Exactly. Yeah.
We organise those visits all the time, and it's really it's the important message. Actually, what we give out is to eradicate the misconceptions what people have about religions in particular, but when it comes to Islam, they have because all those people who come to us, presumably, we just assume that they're white. Because they're white, they're from a Christian background. Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's
right. So, and they are not. And I feel privileged, that I have the opportunity to talk to them, and if they have any misunderstandings about Islam, about jihad for that matter, about women in Islam, the status of women in Islam, and all the other things. So, and when they spend an hour with us, they're more clearer. They've got better picture of Islam than they had before. Zahra with this ayat, قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالَوْا إِلَىٰ كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَنَا. O people of the book, come together on the common grounds. Let's sit together. We've got common things, and I was looking at something common good, so we can all work towards common good.
Does your gender make a difference?
Oh, good, just a
yes. Yeah. Oh, good heavens! Yes. So gender, age. That's it. You're getting going. Do you know what faith she is and her prayers? Is that a definite? You know?
Yes.
Okay. What faith?
Christian.
What denomination?
I don't know what denomination. It doesn't matter to me.
No, but it doesn't matter to you. But are you telling me that all denominations of Christianity are the same?
In my eyes, but not in their eyes. I see you getting into complex issues now, aren't you?
So, but that's why I was asking. Would you? So, what denomination are you?
Me? I'm a Methodist.
You're a Methodist. Liz, what are you?
Catholic.
Would you say?
I work for the Methodists.
Have you sensed any of that sometimes, that Christian people are relating to you because they like you to be Christian? Or are they relating to you because they just want to be friends?
Well, that's a difficult one, actually, because the experience we've had, I've said over the years with the Christians and travelling with Christians, there may be that inner intention within the Christians, but I would say as a friends, they haven't had the courage to say that, we want you to convert to Christianity. So I personally haven't had that experience. Greeting guys, and good evening, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Council for Mosques of Bradford was established back in 1981, many years ago, as an umbrella organisation, and it was a collective platform for mosques and Muslim faith schools. All the Islamic schools of thought, and as you know, as Christianity, Islam does have various different denominations in the city and district. It is one of our key priorities. Over the years, we have been trying very hard to establish a closer relationship with the Christian leadership, and that's not to say that that was not inclusive of other faiths. We believe that the Muslims should not live and operate in isolation. We see faith communities as our natural allies.
Someone said is يا أهل الكتاب تعالوا لكلمة بيننا وبينكم, which is a verse in the Quran asking people of faith to come together for the good thing they believe in. So this is something that we can benefit until today and do.
Yes, and the interesting thing about that is that that verse is 1400 years old, and in some ways, as we meet together and reflect together and agree on things together as Christians and Muslims and publicise that agreement, that verse is actually becoming real in our present experience. And the situation is different to the time in which it was revealed. So we have an opportunity to engage with our scripture in new ways and take it seriously.
I think the very practical thing about involving women that we sort of talked about and touched on was very much about an acknowledgement of how the different communities operate culturally, and that should be your starting point really, to try and connect with women where they are, because Christian women organise getting together much differently than Muslim women operate getting together.
Anjum presents a television programme.
That's where I'm going to get them.
Every Wednesday evening. It's called Community Platform, and it's on Umar TV. And I think it would be really great to get some people from this event onto Anjum's programme. Any of you, imams, activists.
Well, you don't ask, you tell them. You will be there.
Okay.
Simple.
So Anjum may hand-pick some people to be on her programme.
I was interested about you saying how many mosques you got involved. Could you tell me what proportion of those regularly come and are a part of your mosque meetings out of the 80?
We had a meeting last Monday of the Masajid representative, which was called within 12 hours. We had 90 representatives.
Because behind, with my conversations, there are people saying, look what terrible things they are talking about the Prophet Muhammad. The other one says, look how these people are reacting about somebody who's not, not even real anyway. So you get all these voices, and I said, what a shame you can't come to this weekend, I said to one of my colleagues, because you should be voicing your very strong views that are not in favor of Prophet Muhammad, but you should be here talking about this, because then you've got other Muslim friends actually engaging with this and you can talk about it. And I think the importance of just having platforms where you can talk about it is so important.
And I was at the conference that the Muslim Christian Forum held in Northampton in March with women, and we would set a challenge there to not just stick within the comfort and the niceness of being Muslim and Christian women together, because whilst that's great, and that's the majority of my work in Bradford, I'm very passionate about that, but that is not enough if that lets off the hook men speaking on behalf of women and making decisions on behalf of women. And there's something about that challenge still needs to be there, and not everybody's going to be comfortable there or want to be there. I just don't want us to think that because there's lots of brilliant things happening, including in Bradford, which is great to be able to say, amongst Muslim and Christian women, that means it's okay for the majority of religious organisations to exclude women.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, how you relate to maybe other Muslim people then now, in particular?
I've never really had a problem.
Has that changed, or is it?
For me, not really, but I got to know them a bit more.
Right.
That way. Yeah. But they're towards me with the Muslims. They're every single one of them. They're right friendly. They're always asking about your family.
Right, it's changed the other way around.
Yeah,
right.
how's your family and that. And I'm thinking, how do they know me? And you forget about the programme. They say, Desmond, hello Desmond. My name usually Des, but everybody calls me Desmond.
That's verbally saying it, but even in our hearts to think bad of anyone, whether they're in any religion or whether they don't believe in anything, to always have good expectations for people. Now, and that's one thing that obviously, we're humans, we're weak, we do judge people, of course we do, but we need to look beyond that. And I've always been taught that, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, you know, to be there for people, you know, to respect our neighbours, to be there for our elders, you know.
Because it's just on the spot putting something negative about Bradford that it's not British. Now, to me, Britishness is something that is not only poor Muhammad is struggling to define. Even a person who is born here, and maybe from the Queen family, if you sit him down, he's not able to define what is Britishness. Fish and chips, or football hooliganism, or obsession with celebrities, or you know, you name it. We have so many, you know, problems. Where we have good values, you know, tolerance and all, but this is not British. This is human.
You've got to be careful about mixing English with Britishness.
It would be interesting to see from your perspective, you've done this program, what do you think, how can we get more of this dialogue going? How do we go the next step?
Another friend of mine called Tom, he's a white British lad from Bradford, but he lives in Leeds. And I said, look Tom, you're going to go, you come out of the interchange, Bradford interchange, which is about a minute away. I said, go down to Premier Inn, there's an Asian lad stood there, he's from Scotland, right, just say hello to him and meet him. I rang the Asian lad, because I rang the Asian lad, I said, there's going to be a lad there called Tom, smart looking lad, with a suit on, just say hello to him. When I drove down, they both stood on the same balcony looking forward, looking at each other. They weren't even saying hello. And I said, this is why you need a middle person to introduce him.
People. I guess I'm going to leave it at that thought, that he was engaging with people in the prison where he could have just sat there and think, well, you know, I haven't done anything wrong, whereas I'm serving here. I'm not really going to engage with anyone because they're not of my faith. The Lord that they believe in other words, the king or the worship, he's done me wrong, and therefore I'm not going to engage with them. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not even going to tell them their dreams until they follow what I follow. But he opens up this dialogue. And I believe the Christian Muslim Forum, I'm grateful to them for giving the opportunity to say this. This is why we are here, and the Christian Muslim Forum's work is that opening that dialogue and engaging with people. The name of the game is engagement and collaboration. Thank you.
I found myself planning in my mind a storytelling event with the Council for More. Just we were talking about stories, and this chap mentioned his grandma, and I found myself almost weeping and thinking about stories that my grandma told me, and I thought, actually there's something really rich in people's stories, that access is a different, you know, we can think interfaith, and we were just saying, then you know, you think you've got to have someone standing there saying, I'm a Muslim and this is the 5 pillars of Islam. Not that that's
being a school teacher was getting the young people involved in the dialogue now, and getting these you know, interfaith meetings happening now for the youngsters before it, not that it becomes too late, but it's something that we should be working on and thinking about doing now, I think.
Yeah, and I think my view on this would be the same, that finding that middle path between the two extremes, which you know, which the youngsters or the young leaders are being pulled on either extreme. You know, to find that middle way is going. It's not an easy solution.
Yes, what we've got here, and we haven't achieved it in other places, is having a good representation of Muslim leadership at organisational level, Council for Mosques, and a number of imams. And they've come as a group, so they work together regularly. They're committed to interfaith in Bradford, and they're really engaging with this event and with the Christians here.
Well, I'm from Burnley, and because I've been involved in quite a lot of community work, this was really appealing for me, because it meant another opportunity to sort of meet different people, look to see what else is going on in other parts of the country, and see if we could try and emulate that back in our community. So yeah, so I think it has met my expectations, and I've met some wonderful people, and I think the test now will be to try and keep and maintain links with those people, and maybe visit them in their community and share good practice and share the work that I'm doing in Burnley, as well as what the other people are doing elsewhere up and down.
Apologies for not joining you sooner. My name is Ali, I'm from Preston, and in a nutshell, my workshop is going to look at community engagement. I have a slideshow ready. I could have showed you my learning outcomes as a selling tool. I'm going to look at community cohesion, community engagement, scriptural basis of community engagement, and how we can foster greater Christian-Muslim relations locally. and I promise mine's going to be controversial.
I'm just interested, having been around for a long time in terms of working in Christian-Muslim relations, have we got the confidence to move out of our comfort zones and to ask critical questions of each other? Because I think, you know, my sense is until we can do that, we haven't arrived in Christian-Muslim relations and we'll have no integrity in terms of our larger Christian and Muslim communities. So do we feel we've begun to move out of our comfort zones? And if we had, you know, what would it look like?
Because our workshop is going to be looking at gender. Our workshop is looking at women in engagement. And I should also say that I'm a Muslim feminist male heterosexual, so I don't know how that fits in with the stereotypes associated with Muslim men and gender. But my colleague here, Sadia, will also be talking about her experiences and engagement and gender.
James ran a workshop yesterday. I wasn't here, but I'll be running it with him today. It's about the sacred free speech and dignity and about why we get offended. We were going to do a workshop about the Israel-Palestine conflict and how it affects faith relations in the UK. You'll see that's written in the programme. But there was so much demand for the workshop yesterday that we thought it would be worth repeating today.
And Anglican priests. And we had a year-long process to develop some guidelines to improve relations and to chip away at mistrust in our mutual communities. And then this was launched with big fanfares in Bradford Civic in Town Hall in 2008, with lots of ulama there and clergy. And the question for me is, whatever happened to that?
Ali said before, we've run several workshops together on controversial issues, a lot with Muslim-Jewish relations, just within Muslim communities, just within Jewish communities, Muslim-Jewish Christian communities. I think it's the first time we've worked within a Muslim-Christian framework. I've worked for many years in Palestine, Israel, peace and justice work, also locally on community development, more and more on socioeconomic issues and looking at within the financial crisis, how we respond to that, where we go from there.
In the modern age is how can we adapt our dawah and our evangelism to be ensuring that we work towards coexistence and peaceful dialogue, rather than speaking at one another, but speaking with one another is the challenge. Hence also, how can we have coexistence whilst also faithful witness as well?
I think one of our big challenges is that our lack of coexistence, truly, so that we haven't got the natural relationships and friendships that are forming, our natural neighbourliness, parents at school, whatever it is, where actually then you have, that's where some amazing conversations happen at our toddler group. Some conversations that you spend loads of money getting people together around the room to talk about wearing hijab happens with a few mums at a toddler group, but we don't have enough of that, and so therefore we don't get the conversations happening naturally through relationship.
And what is it that we need to do different to be able to equally there isn't conversations on the in the wider community and particularly in the Christian community. What is it that's stopping these people coming to us? What is it that actually inhibits, frightens them off, discourages them, that they are not reaching out? Is there something that we are doing which is preventing people to coming to us?
So sometimes they have a background, that's what I'm trying to say. We need to find out where this comes from.
But also, Ali, you said sometimes people will say, but Ali, you're different. But I mean, you've got a direct challenge there to those people, haven't you? Because your faith is very important to you. And yeah, you may live out your faith differently, hopefully. But that's a real challenge to someone to go, but I am Muslim, and you have made a blanket statement, and therefore you have put me in that statement.
Well, our workshop was looking at difficult issues. So, are we challenging each other enough? Are we asking the difficult questions? And we talked quite a bit about trust. So, trust is critical for relationships. It's critical for intercultural, interfaith relationships. And how do we build that trust? How are we taking what happens here back to our churches and our masjids and our friends members of the congregation, and why is interfaith not having more impact? So what do we need to do to get the message out there? How do we need to encourage people within our own communities? How do you get more people, more Christians involved in interfaith, more Muslims involved?
Mohammed Rafiq Segal, the Senior Vice President for Bradford Council for Mosques. I think this debates and this Muslim, the Christian Muslim Forum has been very helpful in the sense that I think there's been a lot of more understanding that was created, and I think it's benefited all of us. There was a lot of things which we normally probably wouldn't have talked about, and I think we've been open, transparent, and both the faiths have got together, and I think it's been wonderful in the sense of learning about each other and being honest, transparent, and sort of discussing the issues which we probably haven't touched upon in the past.
My name is Bea Foster, and I come from an organisation called Building Bridges in Burnley, an interfaith organisation. And what I've got out of this few days is more questions than answers, because I do feel that we are now at a plateau in Christian-Muslim forum relationships. It's the usual suspects, and we need to push the boundaries, because we need now not to concentrate on the similarities, but to have those difficult conversations.
Madani Mosques do a lot of work, and they do a lot of work with homeless people as well. That's right. I mean, and we do that as well through Council Mosque. We normally sort of, on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, we normally sort of feed the homeless at one of the churches on Otley Road. Well, our idea was more of a media. We felt that we need to get together and sort of have a media setup, which this is one of the courses that we actually through Council for Mosques did with the faith communities, and we got together and we wanted to present a regular slot into the local community radio station. We felt that this was another way of actually getting the group together and doing, because we feel that media is always portraying a lot of negative images and portrays sort of the image that the faith communities get. So therefore we felt that was an important field, and we need to go in to the media and set up a media group and to get a group going.
In our group, it was suggested that it would be really good to get particularly young people to share their views and opinions via the media. So that could fit very well with what you've just suggested. So if we could find a way of encouraging young people to speak in public through the media. Yeah.
During the lunchtime I was actually reflecting on one thing I've said is it is really important that we stimulate interfaith activity and get more things going, that anybody starts to do interfaith stuff, and very small projects, and Near Neighbours is very keen on doing.
What I've learned over the 2 days, that it's about perception and trust. I think we need to perceive people as they are, and respect as well. Respect people for what they are, and have trust. To build trust, we need to have sincerity. And these are the 3 things what I've learned. So sincerity, trust, and right perception of people.
How do you think we take this back to the church and the mosque, and how do we encourage the people who aren't taking risks yet?
I think Near Neighbours would be a good idea, using that.
Okay, good.
Just highlighting common issues.
So telling people about Near Neighbours.
I still think it's about enabling people to encounter one another in a positive way. I was struck by what you said about sometimes making links from the church to the mosque. It's no good sending letters and emails. You need to kind of get round there and start a relationship. And I think we need to be go-betweens, kind of taking people with us. If we've established a relationship, try and adding people onto it.